Imagine for a moment the seasons of your life when everything seemed unfair, the times when you gave your best yet others took advantage, when what belonged to you, your peace, your dignity, your opportunities, was stolen. You carried the weight of betrayal in silence. You watched doors close, blessings slip away, and people walk away with what you had poured your soul into. And in those moments you may have wondered, God, did you see that? Did you notice what they did to me? Let me tell you today, yes, God saw it. Every act of injustice, every false word spoken against you, every blessing that was snatched away, He recorded it all. Heaven keeps careful books, and nothing escapes the eyes of the Almighty. What was stolen from you may have left your hands, but it never left His attention. And now, the Spirit whispers, the tables are turning. The very season that once felt like loss is about to become your season of gain. God says you are about to win back what was taken, not in the same measure, but multiplied. The enemy thought the setback would bury you, but God is using it as the soil of your greater breakthrough. When Joseph's brothers stripped him of his coat and sold him into slavery, it looked like everything was stolen. His youth, his dreams, his dignity, all snatched away by the very people who should have protected him. But God was writing a greater story. Years later, the tables turned. Joseph was elevated to a position of power, and those same brothers stood before him powerless, realizing the one they betrayed now held the authority. What was meant for evil turned into a divine setup for victory. The same God who turned Joseph's pain into power is the one speaking over you today. The tables are turning in your favor. The ones who thought they broke you will witness God raise you. The opportunities you thought were lost forever are being restored in ways beyond your imagination. The peace you cried for at night is being returned with joy in the morning. Do not be dismayed if it still looks quiet. Sometimes God moves in silence before He manifests in power. But behind the scenes, He is shifting pieces, moving hearts, and aligning circumstances. Those who sat at the table of your downfall are about to watch as the King prepares a table of victory before you. And here is the truth you must carry. You are not stepping into victory because of your strength. You are stepping into it because God has declared it. His word cannot return void. If He says the tables are turning, then no man, no betrayal, and no force of darkness can stop what He has decreed. So lift up your head, wipe your tears, take heart. What was stolen is about to be restored. What was broken is about to be rebuilt. What was lost is about to be multiplied. And those who thought they buried you will realize they planted you. Because now it is your season to rise. The tables are turning, and when they do, your victory will be undeniable, your blessing uncontainable, and your story unforgettable. God says, you're about to win what was stolen from you. God saw every injustice. There are moments in life when the silence of heaven feels unbearable. You cry out, but no answer comes. You watch people mistreat you, lie about you, betray your trust, and walk away with what should have been yours. And in those moments, the question burns in your heart. Did God see that? Did He notice? Does He care? Let me assure you with everything inside me, yes, He did. The God who numbers the hairs on your head and knows when a sparrow falls to the ground is the same God who has recorded every tear you have shed in secret. The enemy wants you to believe that your pain was overlooked, that your losses were ignored, and that the people who wronged you somehow escaped unseen. But Scripture tells us plainly, the eyes of the Lord are everywhere, keeping watch on the wicked and the good. Not one act of injustice slips past Him. Not one betrayal is erased from His memory. every false word, every stolen opportunity, every door that was shut in your face. He saw it all. Think about this. When Cain lifted his hand against Abel, God did not need a witness to testify. He said, "Your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground." In other words, even when Abel could no longer speak, his pain cried out before God. The same is true for you. The wounds others inflicted may have silenced your voice, but your pain still speaks in heaven. It is a testimony before God that cannot be ignored. You see, the courts of men may fail you. People may dismiss your story. They may twist the facts, cover the truth, and pretend nothing happened. But the court of heaven never closes, and the judge of all creation never sleeps. He has been keeping a careful record of every wrong done against you, not so he can simply comfort you, but so he can vindicate you in due time. And here's the beauty of God's justice. It doesn't just balance the scales, it tips them in your favor. When he restores, he doesn't give you back what you lost in the same measure. He multiplies it. Job lost everything: his wealth, his family, his health. His friends mocked him, and even his wife told him to curse God and die. Yet God was watching, and when the season of restoration came, he gave Job back twice as much as he had before. That's the kind of justice God delivers, not equal, but abundant. So if you've been wondering whether your pain mattered, let this truth settle in your spirit. God saw it. He has written it in his book, and he has already determined that you will not walk away empty. What was stolen may have left your hands, but it never left his sight. And the same God who saw it taken is the one who will place it back into your hands, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Hold on, the tables are turning, and the one who has been watching will now rise to act on your behalf. What was stolen will be restored. Restoration is not just a promise, it is the nature of God. He is the Redeemer, the Restorer, the one who makes all things new. When the enemy steals, God does not simply replace, he transforms the loss into testimony. And when God restores, he does it in such a way that even the scars of your past shine as proof of his goodness. Think of the story of David at Ziklag. While he and his men were away, the enemy came and burned their city to the ground, taking their wives, children, and possessions. The men wept until they had no more strength to weep. It seemed like everything was stolen beyond repair. But when David sought God, the word came, "Pursue, for you shall surely overtake them and without fail recover all." And that's exactly what happened. Not one thing was missing. Not one life was lost, not one blessing was beyond reach. David recovered everything that was stolen, and even gained spoils beyond that. This is the God you serve. The same word is alive over your life today. Recover all. The years of betrayal, the peace that was taken from you, the love you poured out and never saw returned. God is not blind to it. The same way he restored David's loss, he is preparing to restore yours. Here is what you must understand. When something is stolen from you, it may leave your possession, but it never leaves God's control. He is sovereign over time, seasons, and circumstances. And he knows how to reorder events, align connections, and shift atmospheres so that what was taken finds its way back into your life, transformed and multiplied. Sometimes restoration looks like doors reopening that you thought were forever closed. Sometimes it looks like new opportunities rising from the ashes of disappointment. Sometimes it looks like God elevating you so far beyond the reach of those who harmed you that they cannot deny his hand on your life. And let us not forget, restoration is also about inner healing. The enemy doesn't just steal material things. He steals joy, peace, confidence, dignity. But God says, I will restore the years the locust has eaten. That means He can give you back the time you thought was wasted. He can heal the wounds you thought were permanent. He can bring beauty from ashes in such a way that your latter days will be greater than your former days. That the very thing you thought was gone forever is about to reappear, not because of your effort, but because God has spoken restoration over your life. And when He restores, no hand can stop it, no enemy can block it, and no thief can steal it again. So lift your eyes. Stop rehearsing the pain of what was taken. Instead, prepare your heart for what is about to be returned. You are not stepping into loss. You are stepping into recovery. And when the story is told, people will not just see what you lost. They will see how God gave it back to you in a way only He could. The tables are turning in your favor. There comes a time when the balance of life shifts. You may have been at the bottom for too long. You may have watched others prosper while you carried the burden of loss. But the word of the Lord declares that seasons do not last forever. Winter gives way to spring, and sorrow gives way to joy. And just as surely as night cannot hold back the dawn, your season of defeat cannot hold back the turning of the tables in your life. When God says the tables are turning, it means power is shifting. It means the narrative is changing. It means that those who once had the upper hand no longer hold it. Look at Haman in the book of Esther. He built gallows, fully intending to hang Mordecai, the righteous man. He plotted, schemed, and believed his power would prevail. But when the tables turned, Haman himself was hung on the very gallows he had prepared for someone else. What does this teach us? That the devices of the wicked are never greater than the justice of God. What was meant to destroy you becomes the instrument of their downfall, and what was meant to bury you becomes the platform of your elevation. You may feel right now like you've been at a disadvantage. You've been overlooked, cast aside, treated as though you don't matter. People thought they had the last word about you. They believed their betrayal defined your story. But let me speak this into your spirit. The tables are turning. God is preparing a reversal that no man can undo. The very people who thought they had the advantage will be forced to watch as God establishes you in a position of favor. The turning of the tables is not just about justice, it's about demonstration. God could restore you in secret, but He chooses to do it openly so that everyone who doubted you, mocked you, or took from you will see with their own eyes that His hand has been on you the whole time. He does this not only to vindicate you, but to magnify His name through your life. When He elevates you, no one will be able to say it was by chance or coincidence. They will know it was the hand of God. Think of Joseph again. When famine struck Egypt, his brothers who had once betrayed him were forced to come and bow before him. They could not deny the reality. The tables had turned. The one they rejected was now the one they needed. And God is about to bring the same kind of reversal into your life. Those who dismissed you will need you. Those who belittled you will see you elevated, and those who thought they ended your story will realize they were only characters in a much greater narrative authored by God Himself. So do not despise the waiting season. Do not resent the time it has taken, because in the unseen, God has been preparing this moment of divine reversal. And when the tables turn, it will not just be a small shift, it will be a complete overturning in your favor, beyond what you imagined. God will use what was meant for evil as a setup for good. There is a mystery in the way God works. He does not always prevent the storm, but He always uses it to bring you to a greater destination. He does not always block the betrayal, but He transforms it into the very tool of your promotion. This is why the enemy's plans always fail in the end, because the sovereign hand of God has the power to take what was meant for evil and turn it into a setup for good. Look closely at the life of Joseph. His brothers' betrayal was cruel. They stripped him of his coat, threw him into a pit, and sold him into slavery. To anyone watching, it looked like the end of his dreams, but in reality their betrayal was the beginning of his journey to the palace. Had they not sold him, he would never have been in Egypt. Had he not been in Egypt, he would never have been in Pharaoh's house. Had he not been in Pharaoh's house, he would never have been positioned to save his family and an entire nation during famine. What they meant for evil, God meant for good. The same principle is alive in your life today. The rejection that cut you so deeply, the lies that tarnished your name, the opportunities stolen from you, none of it was wasted. In fact, God is weaving it together as the very thread that will create a garment of victory over your life. The betrayal that should have broken you is about to reveal the strength God planted within you. The loss that should have ended you is about to showcase the restoration only He can bring. Think of the cross. The greatest injustice in history was when the innocent Son of God was nailed to a tree. The enemy thought he had won. Darkness rejoiced, believing the light had been extinguished. But 3 days later, what looked like defeat became the greatest victory the world has ever seen. The very cross meant for destruction became the instrument of salvation. That is the pattern of God. He takes the enemy's weapon and transforms it into His own victory banner. This is why you cannot despair even in the face of your greatest wounds. What was meant to bury you is actually planting you. What was meant to silence you is preparing to amplify your voice. What was meant to curse you is becoming the soil for your blessing. You may not see the full picture right now, but heaven is aligning every detail, and soon you will testify that if it had not been for the pain, you would never have walked into the purpose. To lift your eyes beyond the betrayal, beyond the loss, beyond the injustice. See instead the hand of God, turning what was evil into good. Believe this truth: the setup is bigger than the setback. The enemy may have had his moment, but God will always have the final word. Your enemies will witness your elevation. One of the most striking things about God's justice is that He often chooses to bless His people in full view of those who tried to destroy them. It is not to embarrass you, nor to fuel pride, but to reveal His glory in a way that cannot be denied. When He raises you, He does it openly, so that your enemies become unwilling witnesses of His favor upon your life. Think of Psalm 23, where David says, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies." Notice, God does not remove the enemies first. He does not wait until the battlefield is clear before setting the table. Instead, He sets it right in front of them, so they are forced to watch you feast on His blessings. This is the kind of reversal God is planning for you. The very people who laughed when you fell will have to watch when He lifts you higher. Those who whispered lies behind your back will be speechless when they see doors open that no man could shut. God's elevation is not subtle. When Joseph was raised to the position of governor in Egypt, it was not done in secret. Pharaoh clothed him in fine linen, placed a gold chain around his neck, and paraded him in a chariot so that all would see his new authority. Imagine the shock of his brothers when they stood before the very man they betrayed, not knowing he was the one with power to decide their fate. This is what happens when God turns the tables. He ensures that those who thought you were finished are present to witness that you are favored. Many of you have been in situations where people mocked your pain. They celebrated your downfall, thinking it was permanent. They may have even told you to your face that you would never rise again, but God in His divine wisdom has preserved you for such a time as this. And soon, those same voices will fall silent, not because you argue with them, not because you prove them wrong, but because your elevation will speak louder than any defense you could ever give. God delights in showing that His hand is greater than the schemes of man. That is why He often waits until the stage is crowded with doubters before He reveals your breakthrough. He allows people to write you off, to underestimate you, to spread their judgments, so that when His blessing appears, it will be undeniable that only He could have done it. Do not think for a moment that your pain has been wasted. Every tear, every insult, every setback has been setting the stage for your testimony, and when it comes, those who caused you pain will see it. They may not rejoice with you, they may not clap for you, but they will not be able to deny what God has done. This is why you must not lower yourself to fight your enemies in their own way. Do not waste energy trying to prove your worth to people who never valued you. Simply stand still and watch as God fights for you. Your blessing will be the answer. Your success will be the response, and your elevation will be the proof. God's timing is perfect and cannot be stopped. One of the greatest struggles in life is waiting. We cry, we pray, we believe, and yet nothing seems to change. And in those waiting seasons, the enemy whispers, "It will never happen. God has forgotten you. Look how much time you've lost." But let me declare this truth over you. God's timing is perfect, and it cannot be stopped. You see, delay is not denial. Just because it has not happened yet does not mean it will not happen. The process of God is often slow in appearance but certain in outcome. Think of a seed planted in the ground. For a long time, nothing seems to happen. The soil looks the same day after day. But beneath the surface, life is forming, roots are stretching, and growth is preparing to break through. In the same way, while you wait, God has been working behind the scenes, arranging things you cannot see, and preparing a breakthrough you cannot yet imagine. When the tables turn, it always feels sudden, but in truth, God has been preparing it all along. Joseph sat in prison for years, forgotten by men, but never forgotten by God. Then, in a single day, he was called before Pharaoh, and everything shifted. One conversation, one moment, one divine appointment turned his life completely around. That is how quickly God can move. What has taken years to build against you can collapse in an instant when His timing arrives. His reflections revive. It is important to remember that no enemy, no betrayal, and no obstacle can cancel God's appointed time. When He decrees a season of elevation, it must come to pass. Look at Sarah, who waited decades for the promise of a child. People mocked her, and even she laughed at the idea of conceiving in old age. But when God's appointed time arrived, Isaac was born. Nothing could stop it, not age, not doubt, not delay. Where daily you may feel right now like too much time has passed, like your chance has slipped away. But God says otherwise. He is not bound by your clock or calendar. He holds time in His hands, and He knows exactly when to release your blessing. And when it comes, it will not be late. It will be right on time. God often delays blessing to build your character, to deepen your faith, and to ensure that when the blessing arrives, you are ready to carry it. He knows the weight of what He has prepared for you, and He refuses to let it crush you. That is why the wait has been long, not because He forgot, but because He was preparing you. When the perfect time comes, it will be unstoppable. Doors will open that no man can shut, opportunities will flow that no enemy can block, and blessings will pour out that no hand can hold back. The timing of God is the guarantee of victory, and once it arrives, no power in hell can prevent it. Your story will become a testimony of God's power. Every wound you've carried, every injustice you've endured, and every tear you've cried has not been in vain. God does not allow His children to walk through pain without purpose. When the tables turn in your life, it will not just be about your restoration. It will be about the story you will carry, a testimony that points people back to the greatness of God. Testimonies are not born in comfort, they are forged in the fire. Think of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Their testimony did not come from avoiding the furnace. It came from walking through it and discovering that the flames could not consume them. The king who sentenced them to death ended up declaring that their God was the one true God. What was meant for destruction became the very platform for revelation. In the same way, the pain you went through is about to become the very stage for God's power to be displayed. When people look at you, they will not just see someone who survived betrayal. They will see someone who rose stronger, wiser, and blessed beyond measure because of the God who sustained you. They will see the evidence of His hand on your life in ways that no one can explain. And your story will speak louder than any sermon. Think about it. There are people right now watching your life in silence. Some are waiting for you to fail, while others are curious to see how you will rise again. When God brings the turnaround, both groups will be left in awe. Those who doubted you will be silenced, and those who believed in you will be strengthened. Your victory will not just be personal, it will ripple outward, touching the lives of others who need hope. You may not realize it, but your struggle has been preparing you for influence. When you stand on the other side of this season, people will listen to you in a way they never did before. Why? Because your words will not come from theory, they will come from experience. You will speak with authority because you have lived through the fire and seen the faithfulness of God firsthand. Tables are turning, and when they do, you will not just have restoration, you will have a story. A story of how God carried you through the darkest valley, how He lifted you when others pushed you down, how He returned what was stolen, and how He made you stronger in the process. That testimony will become a light for others, proof that no matter how deep the pit, God can still pull someone out. Do not underestimate the power of your story. People in silence are waiting to hear it. They are waiting to see proof that God still moves, that justice still prevails, and that restoration is still possible. And through your life, they will see exactly that. So prepare yourself. What you are walking into is not just for you. It is for your family, your friends, your community, and even those who wronged you. Your testimony will be undeniable. Your story will become a living witness that God turns the tables, restores what was stolen, and blesses His children openly. Beloved, hear this with all your heart. The season of loss is ending, and the season of victory is beginning. What was stolen from you has not been forgotten. God has seen it all, the betrayal, the injustice, the silent tears, and He has written your restoration into His divine plan. The tables are turning. The same ground where you were mocked will become the ground where you are honored. The same faces that look down on you will watch as God lifts you up. The same enemy that thought he had the final word will realize he was only setting the stage for your testimony. Do not be afraid of the waiting, for God's timing is perfect. Do not be shaken by your enemies, for they cannot stop what He has decreed. And do not doubt your worth, because His promise over you is unshakable. You will win what was stolen. Lift up your head, take courage. The shift has already begun. God is moving in ways you cannot see, and soon the evidence will be undeniable. You will walk into a season of restoration so great that it will silence every voice of doubt and magnify the name of the Lord through your life. The tables are turning, your story is changing, and God says you are about to win it all.